World number 671 defeats Aryna Sabalenka in Battle of the Sexes match. A unique event. On Sunday, December 28th, the first tennis match between a man and a woman in many years took place as part of the Battle of the Sexes. Details. The match featured the world number 1 in women's tennis, Aryna Sabalenka, against the world number 671 in the men's rankings, Nick Kyrgios. The New Zealander won both sets by the same scoreline. The first set lasted 33 minutes and ended 6-3 in favor of Kyrgios. The second took 11 minutes longer but also went to the world number 671, again by a 6-3 score. It is worth noting that Sabalenka's half of the court was 9% smaller than the standard size, and both players were allowed only one serve to put the ball into play. The underdog triumph. How world number 671 shocked the tennis world in the Battle of the Sexes. In the glittering metropolis of Dubai, a spectacle unfolded that had the tennis world buzzing, debating, cheering, and even shaking its head in disbelief. Under the bright lights of the Coca-Cola Arena, with 17,000 fans packed into every seat and millions watching around the globe, world number 671, a player once marginalized by rankings and injuries, defeated Aryna Sabalenka, the dominant world number 1, in a modern-day Battle of the Sexes. What many expected to be a light-hearted exhibition became a cultural flashpoint, challenging assumptions about sport, entertainment, and the meaning of competitiveness. 1. Setting the stage, an exhibition with a story. The idea of a Battle of the Sexes conjures a historic legacy. Back in 1973, Billie Jean King stood up to Bobby Riggs in a match that wasn't just about tennis but about equality, respect, and recognition for women's sport. Fast forward over 5 decades, and tennis promoters in Dubai sought to rekindle that spirit, albeit in the glitzy style of the modern sports entertainment era. At its center were 2 contrasting figures. On one side stood Aryna Sabalenka, a powerhouse of the women's game, reigning at world number 1 and fresh off a season filled with triumphant Grand Slam performances. On the other stood Nick Kyrgios, an Australian known as much for his brilliance as his controversy, who had slipped to world number 671 after injuries and limited play. The disparity on paper was clear, but the narrative, at least as imagined, was meant to bring entertainment and excitement, blending sport and showmanship. Sky News. Yet beneath the pomp and music, a story of underdog spirit, legacy pressure, and public perception was quietly unfolding. 2. Modified rules and a shifted court, balancing the odds. To make the match fair, or at least appear balanced, the organizers introduced modified rules. Each competitor was limited to 1 serve per point instead of 2, stripping away some of Kyrgios's traditional advantage that comes with booming first serves. Sabalenka's side of the court was reduced in size by about 9%, designed to mitigate the speed and power differential between the players. Sky News. These adjustments were more than technical footnotes. They underscored an essential tension at the heart of the event. On one hand, fans and purists wanted to honor the spirit of competition. On the other, the spectacle's very existence hinged on attracting eyeballs, meaning flamboyant entrances, crowd interaction, and moments more akin to entertainment than serious sport. Sky Sports. 3. The match begins. Competitive sparks fly. When the match finally started, it didn't take long for the audience to realize this would be no mere friendly hit. Sabalenka and Kyrgios traded groundstroke for groundstroke, break for break. Despite the rule modifications, the athleticism on display was genuine. Sabalenka, decked out in a bold and confident entrance, fought with the fire that had defined her year. She wasn't intimidated, she was ready. Kyrgios, despite his extended absence from the tour and ranking slump, showed why he was once among the sport's elite. Cheeky drop shots, dazzling angles, and an unpredictable arsenal that kept the scoreboard ticking in his favor. Ultimately, Kyrgios sealed the win 6-3, 6-3, a result that startled fans and commentators alike. NDTV Sports. 4. After the final point, reactions and reflections. The match's aftermath was a mosaic of social media eruptions, sports commentary, and public debate. Some celebrated the spectacle, applauding both players for their athleticism and showmanship. Others saw deeper undercurrents, questioning what the event meant for the status of women's sport or whether it trivialized equality by turning it into entertainment. On social platforms, reactions ranged from pure admiration for Sabalenka's fighting spirit to debates about gender dynamics in sport, with supporters of strict separation in competitive athletics using the match to reinforce biological differences in male and female performance. Reddit. Critics of the event, journalists and former players alike, pointed out the mismatch between this modern exhibition and the historic 1973 showdown between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs. They argued that the Dubai match lacked the cultural and political stakes of its predecessor, reducing what had been a symbol of social progress to a commercialized pantomime. News.com.au. Many were even more pointed. Some called for retiring the battle of the sexes concept entirely, or at least reimagining it in ways that genuinely celebrate athletic achievement without reinforcing stereotypes or creating false equivalencies. 5. Voices from the court. What the players said. After the match, both competitors showed professionalism and mutual respect. Kyrgios, speaking candidly, described the contest as a tough and nerve-wracking battle, praising Sabalenka's competitiveness and expressing openness to a rematch. Sky News. Sabalenka, gracious in defeat, emphasized her enjoyment of the match and her interest in future opportunities to compete, suggesting that any result, even a loss, offers learning and growth. Philstar.com. Their comments, measured yet sincere, added layers to a debate that might otherwise have been dominated solely by critics or pundits. 6. Legacy and the future of mixed-gender sports. What does this match mean for the future of tennis and mixed-gender competitions? The answer isn't simple. There's value in pushing boundaries and challenging conventional structures. Mixed events, when executed thoughtfully, can enhance inclusivity and celebrate athleticism in dynamic ways. But the context matters. A match framed as a spectacle without clear competitive or societal purpose risks being dismissed as gimmicky. When the original battle of the sexes took place in the 1970s, it carried a message: women deserve equal opportunities, respect, and investment in sport. The Dubai match, by contrast, offered entertainment and debate, but its cultural impact remains uncertain. Was it a step forward for tennis? A misstep in the pursuit of ratings? Or simply a memorable night that will be judged differently depending on who tells the story? The discussions that unfolded online and in mainstream media suggest the answer lies somewhere in between, a blend of performance, athletic challenge, and spectacle that forces us to think critically about how sport intersects with identity, equality, and entertainment.